Well, coming up also on the very first concert of the season, which is Saturday, October the 9th, starting at 7:30 in Century 2 Concert Hall, is a clarinetist Trevor Stewart, who is a familiar name for me. I recognize him as somebody who has played with the symphony for a while, a couple of years. He's being featured on Copland's Clarinet Concerto. We're going to listen to just a little bit of that right now, give you a taste of what you will hear when you attend the symphony concert on Saturday, October the 9th. That was the end of Copland's Clarinet Concerto. That was the Benny Goodman playing. That is what you can hear when you attend the Wichita Symphony Orchestra concert on Saturday, October the 9th. Trevor Stewart is a clarinetist. He's been playing a first clarinet, principal clarinet with the symphony for a while. If that's a familiar name, that's why. We also have concertmaster Holly Mulcahy joining us for the Green Room this afternoon. Hello, Holly.
Hi there. Thanks for having us.
In addition to being concertmaster, you're also a partner for audience engagement. And I think you do that very well. And part of what I love to see is how you do engage the audience and get them excited and ask their opinions about things. And between you and everyone else, you generate all these new ideas, and it's delightful to see, and it's fun. And tell us a bit about the fun that we're going to have on October the 9th.
Oh, I don't even know where to start. It's almost too much fun. We've got, like what Daniel's programmed, an all-American program. And there's human stories behind each of these pieces and human connections. There's a connection between Quinn Mason and George Clinton because they came to one of our Zoom recitals together. There's a connection between George Clinton and Aaron Copland from their past. They know each other. Maybe George can expand on that. And then there's a connection between me and George, who we became friends, and things kind of rolled down. And here we are. We've got a Cowtown premiere. Our visit to Cowtown was just so much fun. We made more friends there, and we're hoping that the community of Wichita really reinvigorates their love of Cowtown through music. I think when you experience a piece like this, you're going to want to go visit the church. You're going to want to visit the jail, the saloon. You're going to want to see what you're hearing. And so these stories and community engagements kind of wrap up all together, and that's what music does the best. It creates the platform for these conversations in our community, and I think this is just the most fun way to do it.
And you love the Old West.
I do.
And you love cattle.
Yes, I do. I honestly, when I was 16, I wanted to run a bison ranch, because how hard could that be?
Bison ranch?
I love cows because they're cute, and I thought, well, bison are, they're tasty, but they're not as cute. And anyway, long story, different life.
Cows are dogs of the ranch.
They are.
And I love how, like you said, everything's connected, everything's related, everybody knows each other, everybody's friends, and kind of all of these different interests. George Clinton talking about how you love, bringing a visual and, seeing a visual and putting an audio experience, an auditory experience to this visual you have and telling a story, and how everybody's sort of entranced with the Old West, Cowtown, and how it's all kind of woven into the fabric of what is being created. I think that's pretty neat.
It's a lot of, one of the last movement is called Rosie Dreams of the Herd. And if you've ever been to Cowtown and met that wonderful cow named Rosie, who, as you said, is like a dog of a ranch, I just try to imagine what it would be like to be her in her stall at night, all alone, and dreaming of when she was a young cow, kicking up her heels and running with the herd up the old Chisholm Trail. So there's some very, as you say, personal connections to all of these movements, actually, but specifically that one.
We have a treat in store for our listeners. We're going to hear Prairie Reminiscences. This is part of the Cowtown Suite, yes? Yes,
it is. It's the fourth movement.
And what is the visual attached to this movement?
When I was there, I was standing, it was snowing, and I was standing on the porch of the DeVore farmhouse and looking out at the snow. And I was just, as I was trying to open myself up to the stories of the people that might have been there, as a father and as a husband, I tried to imagine what it would have been like to be a father and a husband and to stand on that porch looking out at the oncoming snow and hoping that our family would be one of the lucky families that would survive what was going to be a horrible winter. And it was very moving for me to imagine standing there with my wife, and hoping that we would survive the winter, because a lot of people didn't.
And Daniel, bringing it to life, something like that, brand new, written for, your town, your people, your orchestra. What is that experience like?
Well, first of all, I have to say it feels like a huge responsibility, quite honestly. I feel like it's up to me and the musicians to really make this as great as possible, to really try to create that visual or the feeling that the music can bring. And so I just try to immerse myself in that feeling. I'm trying to kind of, as much as I can, see it through George's eyes, see what he was thinking about. And of course, what's beautiful about music is you can do all of that, but you can't help but put some of yourself into it too. It speaks to us as individuals. And I think that ultimately, if you really work hard to try to understand the vision of a composer, but you're still trying to see what the larger goal is, then you immerse yourself in it too. And that's just a great feeling to give birth to music anytime you recreate the music that a composer has written. But in this case, even more special because of the local connection, and then knowing George personally really adds a lot.
And Daniel has a real gift at bringing it to life. I mean, it's a composer's dream to have somebody like Daniel be the first person to conduct his work.
Thank you, George.
Prairie Reminiscence by George S. Clinton. This was recorded with Daniel and the Wichita Symphony Orchestra, right smack dab in the middle of the COVID-19 pandemic, December of 2020. Exquisite music. Prairie Reminiscence, a movement from the Cowtown Suite by George S. Clinton. The world premiere of Cowtown Suite is October the 9th with the Wichita Symphony Orchestra. I'm Kately Mattson-Levy, and this is the Green Room. And how lucky are we? We have the composer, George S. Clinton himself, with us today, along with the maestro, Daniel Hege, and concertmaster Holly Mulcahy. We were delighted to hear George Clinton's Aaron Copland story during that next piece of music, but you have to share it with everybody.
Well, when Holly said that I have a connection with Aaron Copland, it wasn't like we were buds and drank beer together. It was during, gosh, I guess it was, I forgot, but it was during my hippie days in the 70s sometime. And I'm a huge fan of Aaron Copland's, and he was performing his third symphony here, conducting it. And I took my Boozy and Hawk score and I ran down to the music center and broke into the back in my Birkenstocks overalls, beard and long hair, and found his dressing room and knocked on the door, and he opened it. And I said, "Please, Mr. Copland, would you sign my score? I'm such a huge fan, and they're going to kick me out of here at any moment." And he looked at me and said, "Oh, a young person who likes my music will come in." And so I got to chat with him for 5 minutes before they kicked me out. And he signed my score to George from Aaron Copland. So it's one of my prized possessions.
Daniel, congratulations on making it to opening of a new season after everything everyone has been through over the past year and a half, longer than a year and a half now. And all throughout the pandemic, the Wichita Symphony Orchestra never stopped making music, and you never stopped creating content, and you never stopped engaging with your audience. And Holly had a big part to play in that with weekly video productions that she herself was producing in her apartment in Chicago and sharing them with the world. So congratulations on that. And what are your thoughts right now about making music, what we've learned over the past couple of years, and how we go forward?
Well, I think we've all realized, I think musicians have always realized that live music is so important to bring to audiences. But I think audiences too have now yearned even more for it because they've missed it so much. So we're anticipating that. In terms of what you talked about, the digital content that we've been producing over this time of COVID, I met Quinn Mason through one of Holly's recitals. You know, when Holly was producing these recitals every week during COVID time, and I also got to know George even better. And so these are the connections I think that Holly was referring to even earlier that actually get to show up on this program that we're going to do coming up. And it's very exciting because we start with Quinn Mason's work that he wrote in 2021. You know, the ink is still wet in a sense almost, and George's work is so recent as well. And I think that's just so exciting to have not only two living composers on the program, but works that were just now written. And then having Aaron Copland in the middle between those two is just an incredibly exciting project that we're going to embark on.
October the 9th, which is a Saturday, 7:30 is when the concert starts. If you come earlier to Century 2, Cowtown has some of their actors, the reenactors, the actors who reenact history, will be there putting on a show for everybody. And it's supposed to be a lot of fun. Now, Holly, what are we supposed to wear to the symphony?
Well, we're supposed to dress up is what the tradition is, but we're encouraging our audiences to come in Western wear. It's frankly more comfortable and it's so much more fun. And for this kind of concert, I think it just really hits the spirit of it. So Western shirts, we've got cowboy boots that are just sitting in the closet collecting dust. This is the time to wear them. And big belt buckles, anything that's fun. So yeah, and I think we'll be doing the same for the Rosa Sonora concert as well at the end of the year. Dressing up in Western is just fun. And there's so many great places in Wichita to buy Western outfits too. So
that's perfect. To get tickets, go to the Wichita Symphony Orchestra website, which is wichitasymphony.org. wichitasymphony.org. There are still tickets available. This is only one performance because we're still living in COVID times. So your one opportunity to experience this night out with the symphony, a world premiere, a brand new work, also new works by Quinn Mason, and to hear the clarinet concerto performed by Trevor Stewart, by Aaron Copland. It's going to be Saturday at 7:30. Thank you to all three of you for being here. I made a joke earlier, but I meant it. I feel like I should be paying admission because I have the three of you here with me at once talking about music and the symphony, and it's absolutely delightful. And congratulations on what's about to happen, the world premiere and a brand new season of the symphony.
Thank you. This was great.
thank you.
Have a good afternoon, everybody.